nice timing to have.
Okay.
Whenever you have idle Zerglings like this, you generally want to be sending them around the map, either scouting for proxy buildings, taking the watchtowers, destroying destructible rocks, or parking them outside of your opponent's base. So it's just because you had to make those units early, and instead of having drones, you have units, so you just want to get the most out of the units that you do make.
Okay.
As soon as your lair starts, I like to try and get Overlord speed as soon as possible. That way I can spread out my Overlords to the existing expansions and start pooping creep. But if you don't have Overlord speed, they could just like all get picked off at once and you get supply capped and possibly lose the game from that. So that's why, yeah. With the Infestation Pit, you can get Pathogen Glands, and then if you start Pathogen Glands and Burrow at the same time, and then start your Infestors 30 seconds after Pathogen Glands has started, which I know that sounds kind of crazy, but when you think about it, like Infestors take 50 seconds to build and Pathogen Glands is 80 seconds to research. So by starting it at 30 seconds, the Infestors will finish right after the Pathogen Glands finishes, and then you'll have like, you know, perfectly timed Infestor energy upgrades.
Shit, that's so complex.
But yeah, you can be off by a few seconds and it really doesn't matter. So that's the general build order. In the next game, I'll go into more specifics because we did kind of skip some stuff, and you know, like injects and creep spread were kind of lacking. But yeah, that's okay. I mean, I could say the same for Idra. Like nobody's perfect, so.
Ouch.
So just go ahead and like kill this off, and then you'll see that should be able to finish the game from there. So I'm actually going to stop the game here, just because you feel like you're. Well, how do you feel in this game? Do you feel like you're ahead or behind, or?
I like to think that I'm ahead. If I like to think that I could probably stomp the computer right now with just Zerglings.
Yep, you definitely can. I have all vision on, and the computer has 2 Marines and a Banshee.
And they
so. So you could just like attack move.
I guess I can move out right now.
You had the Zergling at his natural, so you knew that he was only on 1 base.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, we're just gonna go and start up another game, and we're gonna go through the same build order again, but we're gonna try to get the timings a little bit cleaner.
Okay.
And I'll tell you things to watch out for, and you know.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go back on Xel'Naga. Okay, so at the start of the game, I noticed you didn't do a drone split.
Oh yeah, the 3 for each.
Yeah,
patch, yeah.
You want to do that 3-3 drone split. On most maps, especially Xel'Naga, there's like 3 mineral patches that are directly next to each other. There's like 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 in the center, and so those are the 3 mineral patches that you want to aim for.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a good description, but
I'll probably fuck it up.
two of the 3 the mineral patches are close patches, so it's yeah. Starting the drone before you split or after really isn't too big of a difference. They say that you should start the drone beforehand, but you know, it's like 5 minerals, so who cares?
Okay.
I think people think I'm playing.
Oh yeah, nothing interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Moment is actually a French pro. He plays Zerg. All right. So at the start, just be mindful of that 3-3 drone split.
All right, I'll try. I've tried it before, and I've like completely misclicked and like fucked it up.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you can not split, and it actually won't make too big of a difference.
Okay, well, I'll give it a shot. Oh, I got 2.
No, that's still, it's better than not splitting. So as long as you can, do whatever little you can. Okay, so this first overload that you're sending out, you kind of send it like directly to his base.
Like outside, like
yeah.
in this region.
Don't forget drones and to have that idle drone mining.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's actually kind of difficult to talk and play at the same time. So, all right, so you want to.
I should.
That's okay. You can just overload on 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so that first overload that you're sending out, I see you're kind of sending it to the bottom of his main, which you can do that. Not all players will catch it. Even like in my games, players don't kill the overlord, but if they do open standard 12 or X, they can kill the overlord. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. So Idra likes to send the overlord either to the middle or directly up to the natural, but that's just a small thing.
What I would like normally do is I would keep it in like, I don't know, a little hidden spot, and then when I make an overseer, I kind of just like fly it in. It might like be a sacrifice, but then you can get a scout.
Like getting it to the hidden spot, it's actually vulnerable because it takes a little bit too long, unfortunately. So you should be setting up your first drone to the natural. Yeah. The second overlord should be parked above the natural, just to spot for bunkers and stuff. And you should also get to 16 supply before throwing down the hatchery. And there you go. So that's the 16 hatch. We're waiting on the 15 pool. And then the second overlord, you just have to be careful that, you're watching for like bunker rushes and stuff. Okay. Your first overlord, you're sending it a bit too far to the right. You want to be a bit sneaky with it or else you'll like go directly in the SCV's flight or, walk path.
Okay. There. 16.
Right, overlord? So we're going to 17 and then make an overlord. Generally you want to scout at around 14 supply, but we are playing a computer, and I kind of forgot to tell you, so.
Oh no.
It's okay. So as soon as the spawning pool finishes, you want to make 1 pair of zerglings, and only 1 pair, and then the 2 queens at each hatchery, and continue drone production at that point.
Oh, sorry, 1 pair. I'm idiot.
That's okay. You can, making more is safer, but generally you just want to make as many drones as possible, and then decide based on scouting information whether or not to make units. Okay, so you see your first queen, how it's 30 seconds done. You want to make that third or fourth overlord at 25 seconds. So about 10 seconds ago is when you wanted to make it, but that's okay. You can just make it now.
I can probably rally this down here now, right?
Yep. Okay. After the first queen's done, there you go. Immediately making the second queen. Generally, I like to spend my first 25 energy on a creep tumor instead of an inject, but that's just preference.
Sorry, force of habit.
Yeah. So the drone saturation, like we talked about, you have 18 in the main instead of 16, and it's at this pre-40 food mark. This is where you really want to be mindful of supply blocks and stuff. Like right here, you're about to be supply blocked because you don't have enough overlords. But and another thing is hitting the injects and just making sure that you constantly have 0 larvae. The only reason why you would want to save larvae like this would be if you're not sure whether or not you should be making units or drones, and so you need to wait on like an overseer or like a zergling to scout his unit composition. So just try to keep 0 larvae at each hatchery. by cycling through, just like every 4 or 5 seconds. Just check the hatcheries and see if you have larvae or not. You can hotkey your queens so that it's easier for injects. It's what I do, but you know, hotkey is preference.
Okay.
So you're at that 40 supply mark, or slightly above it, but you do have 33 drones. So that's when you want to throw down all 4 gases like we talked about.
Oh shit.
That's okay. This guy's actually hard mode computer.
I'm probably gonna lose this plane actually. Would you recommend like taking drones off to
Yeah.
kill? Yeah?
Whenever you're under attack like this and you're going to lose the game,
Yeah.
it's better to lose the drones instead of losing the game, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I would just pull everything off and see what you can make happen. You can see that your minerals are at like 1600 right now, and if those were like all Zerglings or all drones or something, then you'd be in a lot better shape than you were. But that's just because you've missed so many injects early on. Yeah, but like it kind of sucks. Like, yeah, I missed the injects, so you know I have a lot of money floating. But it's a really good indicator of like how well you're progressing. Like if you've got 2,000 minerals now, well, next game try to shoot for like 1,500 minerals or something like that, until eventually, if you're doing it optimally, you'll have 0. Another timing to note is that whenever you have more than 500 minerals and you have 0 larvae, you want to go ahead and throw down another hatchery. You can throw down the hatchery at either a 3rd base or just in your base, and that's called like a macro hatchery.
Okay.
So you have like more than 500, so I'd recommend doing that.
Okay. Can I just like
throw it anywhere. You can do it
Okay.
in the main or in the natural.
Okay.
And then even if you go above 500 again and you have 0 larvae, then just throw down another hatchery. And so, you know, you might have like 5 hatcheries on 2 base, but that's, yeah, you generally don't want to have that happen, but it's better than having like a bunch of money and no larvae.
Okay.
And then as you get better with injects and creep spread and stuff like that, you'll be able to keep your money down without having the extra macro hatcheries. Okay, so you've got the gas mining. The first 100 goes for the layer. I'd recommend starting it at your natural, just because whenever you have a hatchery that's damaged, you want to start your tech at that hatchery, unless it's like vulnerable to dying.
Okay, so do it on this one?
Yeah, I'd start at the natural.
Okay.
Because at this point, if you lose your natural, you're probably going to lose the game anyway. And so you just want to have as much health on that thing as possible.
Alright.
So the second 100 goes to the metabolic boost, and then you want to throw down the 2 evolution chambers as soon as the metabolic boost starts. So you see your money is still above 500 minerals, and you have,
so I can make
you can make another one. You also want to be trying to keep your larva as close to 0 as possible. I see you like to pool up your larva. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not really sure why that happens. Do you just think you don't?
Forgetful mind.
Forgetful mind.
And like I don't know, I kind of like look at things, but sometimes it just doesn't like register, and then I pass it, and then I'm like, oh shit, you know, I should be making stuff, and very pricey.
So, what I like to do is whenever I hit a larva inject, that's when I also spend my larva, just because that's when all the larva pops off.
Okay.
Ooh, you actually cleaned that up. That was pretty impressive.
Really?
Yeah, I looked and you had like no Zerglings, and then suddenly like a bunch streamed out from the ramp.
Definitely hotkeying like all 4 hatcheries at once, or all hatcheries at once, is like a great idea. Then just make a whole bunch of shit, and then
yeah, I actually do that.
Zerglings don't take a long time to really spawn anyway. So.
Yeah, 27 seconds is pretty quick. So you did forget the +1/+1. So, but that's all right. You were defending and whatnot. As you play more games, you'll be